All right, welcome back to me sitting in my basement talking to two phones. We got one here, we got one there. And I'm super long-winded by nature, and I like answering your questions as best as I possibly can. I'm super thankful for every single one. Still baffled that I have more than 5 followers on any platform, so why not take the time to try to answer your questions even better. All right, Jean Parmesan, by the way, if this is your real name, my wife is gonna be super jealous. She loves cheese. Have you ever quit a job? I have never quit a job. I mean, I've left jobs. I worked at Abercrombie and Fitch for a hot second I guess like in between college years, did lifeguard, that kind of stuff, where you actually, you leave because you go back to school or you do something else. But no, I've never quit, not since I got into the true working force, since I've been in corporate America. Not unless I left a job to go to another job. I have never quit a job. Haven't had to, super lucky for that. There's your answer. So if you've already answered this, have you always been a positive person, or did you decide one day to fake it until it naturally happened? I've not always been this positive, especially the past couple of years. It's been like I wouldn't say a whole new world, and there's that Disney song. For some reason, one of the first memories that comes to mind is being in college and going on a road trip with a couple of my closest friends, and them having to pull me aside at some point and being like, "Are you okay, man? Like, you just seem sad, or you're just not happy." I've been, I would say, on and off melancholy most of my life. Usually overall, like a pretty happy-go-lucky dude, but I've certainly had my times and my dips. But recently it's been a pretty good ride. I think a lot of that has been because of the circumstances at work. They've just been, pretty positive, I think, because of what I'll say was previous leadership. Or an old boss that I had that was just making things super, super difficult. I've had a new boss now for a couple of years, and it's just been a night and day difference, to say the least. I also think there's been some watershed moments too that have helped me appreciate things from a big picture perspective. Studying history in school actually helped a lot, because you take a look at some of the historical things that have happened, and I've touched on this in the past. I remember I took a trip to Europe right before I started my first real job, and I drove to the beaches of Normandy, and I remember seeing the cemetery there, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this is insane. Thinking about the kids that were like my age that were at half of those tombstones, and that kind of made me think, wow, I've got it pretty good. Like, it's kind of hard to go backwards from here. So I don't know, but especially for various reasons over the past couple of years, I've been happy-go-lucky as hell. So it's not like you either have it or you don't thing, at least not in my humble opinion. I think over time you can grow and learn to appreciate more for different reasons and kind of ease into your own place of zen, if that makes sense. How did you know what you wanted to do in college? Dude, I had no idea. I studied history and film. When I left school, I knew I wanted to I was like, hey, if there's something to do with sports and something to do with production or creative, that would be dope. That was really it. My dad was in sales most of his career. For various reasons, I did not want to go in that direction. I would say I still don't know. I don't think you really do. I think there's an incredibly small percentage of human beings on the planet that actually know what they want to do. I'm talking about artists, musicians, athletes that are just like, yes, this is it, laser focus, let's go. I would say, guess at least 95 to 98% of the world's population probably does not know exactly what they want to do. What I just said is a ridiculous statement, but I don't know a lot of people that were like, yeah, I totally wanted to get in HR when I was a kid. I think you find, you start and you go and you figure it out, for lack of a better description. I do not know what's going to come next. I do not know what I want to do next, other than have a good conversation with you right now and then go help make dinner. And that's plenty for me. So for people that are still bugging out, it boggles my mind that there's so much pressure on, especially high school is insane. College is insane too. I would say even the first 5-10 years of your career. I mean, at some point you want to start to figure out what your sweet spot is, but that doesn't mean you can't pivot too. Some of the most successful people I know have been all over the map from a career path perspective. And don't forget that if you're a CEO of the company, you are a generalist by nature. So I think people bug out of you have to have things figured out. I've even talked to other parents where I hear them say that, I'm like, yo, do you know? Because I bet you don't, and I bet you didn't. So unless you're like, yeah, I really wanted to be in funnel marketing strategy when you were when you were 20 years old, which I would call BS on if you said yes. So people bug out. You do not need to have things figured out. I don't have things figured out. All right, what does FTGF mean? You want to buy a shirt. Curious what it means. It means fight the good fight. And it's backwards so that you only see it in the mirror. It should be about what it means to you. To me, it means myriad things. And it's been really cool to see how that's been picked up and people have embraced it, especially because it was so personal to me for a multitude of reasons. But it means fight the good fight. At a high level, I think that's just about having the courage and conviction to stand for whatever your morals might be. Be there kind of in the face of either anger or frustration that is unnecessary, especially in the workplace, and to continue and persevere through difficult times and issues by taking the high road. Work hard, be nice, have fun, take the high road, give benefit of the doubt, work and strive for something even when you have some of those obstacles in your way where people are not giving benefit of the doubt, where people are being a pain in the ass, where people are being jerks. All that shit is counterproductive. So fight the good fight, give it your own meaning. That's what I love about it. I think people can give it their own meaning based on who they are, what they do, what they believe in. Get a t-shirt if you want and have it mean something to you. That's what it means to me. And by the way, thank you for the people that have bought the t-shirts. Holy crap, like I'm still flabbergasted by all of this. At some point I probably need to get over that. I'm never not going to be incredibly appreciative. To come down here, like there's boxes behind where the camera is right now, and to come down here and to see my wife and my daughter packing up these envelopes that I had no idea what I was getting for when I got them. And at first I was like, oh my God, that was so stupid. I just bought all of these envelopes and I have nothing to put them in. It was when I gave pins away. I gave pins away back in the day, which was cool because it was like my first foray into doing something merchandise, but I just gave them away. And I'm actually really proud of the fact now that I didn't jump straight into like, how can I get people to pay for something? I just went out and bought, I don't know, like 5,000 pins and just gave them away or something ridiculous like that. But now enough people had asked for things like t-shirts that we wanted to start somewhere. So thank you so much to everybody that has bought one. It is insane and so friggin' cool that there's t-shirts out, literally spread out across the world that people are wearing that have Fight the Good Fight on them. Lauren. Hi, Lauren. I'm sure you said this before. What advice would you give for sticking to a routine? Don't necessarily commit to it. That's going to sound insane, but I think to stick to a routine, you have to find things that you actually enjoy doing or that you understand why you're doing them. But then also give yourself the ability to say, I'm not just doing this because I need to, or like if I don't, then I've lost or I've done something wrong. Grab a routine or have things work for you simply because it works for you. I don't have to get up at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. I will, but I don't have to. I don't have to eat the same lunch again tomorrow. I probably will, but I don't have to. That's the beauty of, at least for me, that's the beauty of my routine is the luxury. It's almost like I play chicken with every single thing throughout the day, every single day. I know that I'm inevitably going to do it just because it gets to a point where it's so easy to do it that it would almost be more difficult for me to avoid it. So I think if you go into a routine and it's like, okay, I'm going to try this, not I'm going to do this and stick with it forever. I'm going to try this and I'm going to tweak it until it works for me. And then when it starts to work for me, I'm going to do it consistently because it's working for me. But I don't have to do this for the rest of my life. There's nothing that I'm doing right now that I need to do for the rest of my life with the exception of the basics like get out of bed as long as I'm able to get out of bed, right? So don't lock yourself into something. I think that's why people quote unquote fail, because I don't think you're actually ever failing, but I think that's why people don't necessarily succeed with routine, because they're like, okay, here's something hard and rigorous and I'm going to start it. I failed a whole 30. I don't think I can do a hard 75. I think that these things are too strict. Find sweet spots, tweak it, enjoy it, and give yourself the ability to think, I do not have to do this for the rest of my life, or I don't have to do this for any longer than I actually want to. because then all of a sudden you'll find something you're like, I want to do this, and it'll feel really good, and then it'll start to snowball. Do I have a car? I kind of. It's my wife's car. It's an Audi Q3. It is a lovely little SUV. I guess it's an SUV. I personally have not had a car for, Jesus, now 18 years or so. We got a car during the pandemic, kind of typical story. She was driving me in and out of the city. We borrowed somebody else's car. It became a very nice thing to have during the pandemic. Kelly drove me in and out of the city because I didn't stop going into the office. Once that car was kind of coming to an end, it was like, all right, let's get a car. So it's hers, it's under her name, so I'd say I don't have a car because I like saying I don't have a car, but yeah, we have a car. And I think the other question was, I mean, in Brooklyn there's more cars. I don't know, it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass for alternate side parking. You know, they get beat up pretty good because people will bump into them all the time because you're parallel parking everywhere, but definitely a nice luxury. And especially with a 9-year-old, it can be quite helpful. So 99% of the time I'm sticking on my Dutch bike. I just got back from getting groceries and I took the Dutch bike. Like, unless we're actually going somewhere, it's bike all over the city. Do you ever let loose off of your routine? Not really. I don't know. I kind of like my days. I enjoy the various aspects. Like, I look forward to the quiet time in the morning. I look forward to having the same lunch because I really dig that salad. I look forward to the various meals that we have that are part of the nightly dinner routine. I look forward to the beer and popcorn. Like, I've kind of baked in things that I'm like, I'm stoked about all of this stuff. I'm happy to repeat this. I kind of have my Shangri-La at this point. Like, I don't need any more. I mean, I could certainly fantasize about, you know, renovating another house, maybe having a little more space, those types of things. But on the whole, I have absolutely everything that I need and then some. So I don't know, let loose off of your routine. That would be maybe having like an extra half a beer. But especially right now, because I'm trying to do so much, like, it is somewhat baffled looking back to think that I've been doing a lot of this stuff for a couple of years now, making TikToks almost every day. Now starting to make YouTubes, at least not, is that a word? Is YouTube's a word? Videos for YouTube once a week. Like, I'm kind of shocked that all of this is going on. So if nothing else, I kind of like, I guess, you know, letting loose off my routine would be somehow figuring out, or somehow adding more to the plate and being like, oh my God, can I get through this? Like, can I look at Friday and be like, wow, I think I've got a shot of actually accomplishing all of that. This week coming up is going to be bananas for a multitude of reasons, and I dig it. So maybe that's letting loose off routine, but I don't know. For now, I'm trying to do a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm gonna keep going until I can't or I don't want to anymore. Question from YouTube, Jim. Thank you, Jim. By the way, I'm trying my ass off. For anybody that's watching this is like, yo, I tried to get to you on Instagram or something else. I'm trying my ass off to get to all this stuff, but as I've said before, I'm not actually a creator. I'm just a guy with a job who's trying to do as much as humanly possible in other spaces right now. All right, what advice would you give to someone who seems to be struggling, trying to find their groove, getting back into the management path? For many years, I was out of it due to merging and such. Getting thrown back into an actual managing a team again, and it's been some time. Just seem to be having an issue getting back into that different mindset. So I get it. I mean, you go from I distinctly remember getting this job, and at first, I swear to God, I had this thought, being like, oh crap, I can't just sit in the back during offsites anymore and kind of space out if I want to. Like, I actually have to own the agenda and make sure it goes well and make sure that we take down what are we going to do. Like, there's a lot more ownership that goes into this, no doubt. So like, I totally get it. This is going to sound weird. Get high off the progress. Like, seriously, look at where you can actually make a difference and then start to see some incremental wins. Like, look at quick wins. Like, what can you do that's going to be like, wow, we did that and we just did that out of the gate. Like, where are reasonable quick wins that you can get? And then make sure you've got long-term sustainable goals. And, you know, at this point, especially looking back at what we thought we were in for 9 years ago and where we are now, I wish I could say some of the numbers. I mean, the volume and numbers I can say, but like some of the other numbers that I wish I could say, I can't say. But we've done, you know, my team does like 20,000 pieces of creative a year. Nobody thought we had a shot of actually building this team the way that we've built it, now to look back, and since, over that course of time, I've probably done at least 150,000 pieces of creative, won ungodly amounts of awards at this point. And I'm not saying that necessarily I would brag for the team 1,000%. I think my team deserves to be on the cover of Ad Age, but that's a whole nother story. Just, get a buzz off of the quick wins. Look for the excitement in seeing people get excited about succeeding. That helps drive me. I think that setting other people up to do good work and to feel good about their job, to me, that is legitimately exciting. That can fire me up all the time. When I see people that have ideas and I can see the look on their face when they feel excited and comfortable and confident, that is amazing. So I think if we can kind of compartmentalize things between quick wins and then what is the long-term vision and strategy, I bet you'll find your groove. It's exhausting, no doubt. It is absolutely exhausting. By the way, if you're not happy doing it, then feel free to bow out. It's not for everybody. It is definitely not for everybody, and people shouldn't feel pressure to be like, oh, well, inevitably I have to become a manager. I think people managers should be people who actually want to manage other people, not just because it seems like the next thing that they have to do career path-wise. Happiness, your happiness, and the happiness of your team before all else. And then if you can find some good wins in the short term and build for some long-term sustainable progress, it'll be golden, my friend. All right, that's all the questions for this week. I hope that's been a hoot. Welcome. Thank you for joining me in my basement yet again. And I look forward to doing this next week. I think next week I'll actually be doing this in Florida, because I'll be at my parents' place. I gotta figure that out. Anyway, have a great rest of your day or night or wherever you are. Thank you. Super appreciative. I'm so appreciative of you guys asking me questions and these opportunities to answer them. Peace out. Love y'all.